LA Hoops and Homers podcast. I'm your host, Derek Mills. With me is my other host, Josh Mitchell. This podcast is your place for all things Dodgers, Lakers, Clippers, and Angels. We're excited to be with you, talk some sports.
And today we'll be covering the Angels and Dodgers.
Oh, yeah.
We just came out of a 3-game set with them this past weekend. If you don't remember, but for those that are listening, the Dodgers swept the Angels, took all 3, broke my heart again. And the Dodgers have just been staying hot ever since the season started. I shouldn't say hot, but they are doing very nicely.
Yeah, Dodgers come into the series doing all right, leave the series after a sweep. They leave the series 16-7 and looking real good for the future of the rest of this season, especially how in their place in the National League. But yeah, so let's dive into the series a little bit. First game was a matchup between Clayton Kershaw and Patrick Sandoval. So that was a fun start between the veteran lefty and the young lefty who used to look up to Kershaw growing up.
Yeah. We have a fun story about Sandoval. Derek and I actually went to the same high school as Patrick.
Correct.
When we were freshmen in high school at Mission Viejo, and I believe he was a senior, and he led our baseball team to a CIF championship that year.
Yeah, and only several years later, we are doing a podcast, and he is pitching in the major leagues. So
against a Hall of Famer. So.
Yeah. So let's just talk about, Clayton Kershaw has been pretty much undeniably the best pitcher of this last generation.
Some bias there, but
a little biased, but I mean, I don't know
there's
if
some
you can
truth to it too.
really make an argument. But there's been a lot of talk about his aging and his decline, and but what did you see from this game in particular? Because he definitely looked pretty good in this one.
I definitely think that Kershaw still has it. Going into this game, Derek, I know we're texting a lot. You're worried about Kershaw saying, like, don't trash talk me when the Angels bash him in.
Hey, no. I wasn't that scared.
You were scared. You said, if something goes wrong, I'm going to throw something in my room.
Hey, that's me every single game.
It worked out,
Yeah, that's me every single game.
We saw Kershaw from this past decade come out, someone that's overcome a lot of back injuries, someone that if you have been thinking that he's been regressing, to only come in there, pitch, I believe it's 8 innings and give up 1 run.
Yeah, it was 7 innings, 1 earned run on a solo homer hit by Rendon, a real hard hit ball. But that was the only hit he gave up the entire game. 7 innings, 1 hit. He really had the Angels number. He got a lot of soft contact, a lot of ground balls, especially second base. Kiki Hernandez was gobbling up those ground balls. So, yeah, his stuff has been really good this year compared to the last couple of years. He hit 94 a couple of times in that game, something he hasn't done since 2017. And he's routinely sitting 92, 93 with the fastball, which is, higher than he has in a couple of seasons. So I really think he's been really good. If he can keep the ball in the yard, which was something he struggled with last year, I think he can stay his dominant self and be one of the better pitchers in the National League for sure.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But now let's go over to the other side of the table. So the Angels, we finally saw Anthony Rendon heat up. He'd been struggling a lot actually going into this series. Funny enough, though, he still had an on-base percentage above 400. He was getting walked a ton. But he just kept striking out, couldn't really get those hits to fall. But then he really broke out, starting off with that home run against Kershaw.
Yeah, Rendon was the only player to reach base against Kershaw. He hit a homer and walked twice. And after the game, Kershaw joked that maybe one of these days he'd be able to get Rendon out. Tough hitter, good lineup. Angels, there's not a whole lot of holes, especially until maybe down the lineup. But Kershaw was able to weave his way out of trouble. Not really get into much trouble throughout the game. So yeah, that was a good game for Kershaw. On the Dodgers side, Bellinger hits a home run, has a really good game, couple of hits, 4 RBIs, helped the Dodgers get to the win. Bullpen was decent, not great, but they're able to come out of game 1 with a win.
All right, yeah, you see Andrew Heaney come up, deliver a big old goose egg. Here, the Dodgers and Angels actually went to extra innings, and you see the Dodgers come through by one, stealing that extra base.
Yeah, Chris
Um,
Taylor starts the 10th inning on second base with the new extra innings rule, and really um, risky move, steals third
extremely risky.
base and puts them in position to just once he hits the sac fly that wins the game.
Mhm.
This game, neither starter threw well. Both starters that have a lot riding on them this season, Heaney and Bueller. Bueller pitches 4.2 innings, gives up 4 runs. Heaney with 5.2 innings, also 4 runs. 5 walks between the two of them, unusual for Bueller to not have his command. But they both neither starter performed well. Bullpens did pretty good. Dodgers bullpen didn't give up a run. Angels bullpen only gave up one earned run on a Mookie Betts solo homer, um,
Mhm.
which is fun to see. Mookie Betts has been really good recently. What are your thoughts on
Amazing.
him? Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of wanted the Angels to pick him up this offseason, seeing as like he could put Trout and Betts back to back. It's like, wow. But I think it's awesome what the Dodgers are doing. They always find ways to get talent. They always find a way to get that Christmas gift every year by getting that one star player that the
Yeah.
entire market seems to want. You definitely get 10 years, 400 million. You're going to get to see a lot of him in the
Yeah.
next
12 years.
decade,
Yeah.
12 years.
Yeah. As a Dodger fan, I Mookie Betts is in the American League. Haven't seen a whole lot of him, but I mean he has been as good as advertised or
Mhm.
better. Leads the league in WAR currently as already a 2-win player, and that's after having a pretty lackluster
Yeah,
first
yeah.
week and a half. He coming into this series, the Thursday before this series, he had his 6th career 3-homer game, something that only 2 other players have ever done, and he's only 27 years old. So,
You know
I
what? All
mean,
I can say is I'm glad he's out of the American League because it allows for Mike Trout to get more MVPs
that's
because,
true.
man, those two, they're incredible.
I think it's
That's it.
pretty safe to say that those are 1 and 2 in the league
Oh, for
in best
sure.
players, and the both in LA. We're pretty spoiled as LA sports fans to be able to watch those 2 guys. Let alone
All those
the
stars, yeah.
this series featured 5 total MVPs in
Present and past.
Kershaw, Betts, Trout, Pujols, and Bellinger. So that is a lot of star power. Um, yeah, I mean it's all in LA. I guess you gotta love LA sports.
Yeah. And it's important to note, too, that during this game, Mike Trout actually hit a 433-foot bomb off
Right.
um, Bueller. That kind of exercised his dad power, people have been calling it. He's had 7 home runs, no, 8 home runs since he became a dad 2 weeks ago.
I think
So
it's nine
congrats to
home
Mike
runs.
Trout. It's 9 now. Oh yeah, he hit that
Yeah,
last one.
he's
So
got 10 to
9 home
lead the
runs.
American League.
He's 20
Um,
RBI with it.
yeah, I mean he has been. I
On
mean
fire.
he's been Mike Trout.
Yeah, one more thing I wanted to point out with game two was what Joe Madden was saying after the game with the Angels. Um, in that 10th inning, Kenyon Middleton came out and got all 3 outs. I was shocked. He's been struggling all year. However, the Dodgers were still able to score a run, and Madden's criticism with it was that he's a little bit frustrated that you could have either come out now and do his job but still lose the game.
Mm,
Because if this is any other year, that's just 3 outs. There's not. It's not 6-5. It's just still 5-5.
right.
So I
It
guess you
was
can.
it was the first ever leadoff sacrifice fly in baseball
Yeah,
history.
I
It's
must
crazy.
say. I mean, Muncy was like this close to taking him deep,
Yeah, I thought it was gone off the bat.
but he didn't. So, what are you thinking so far? This extra inning rule.
Um, I mean, for this season, I understand it, and I think it's a good rule to have. We don't want any 15-inning games going through relievers' arms and stuff. I could see this rule sticking around. I just hope that they would maybe make it start in the 12th inning or something. Give them a little extra baseball. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we'll just see. I think for this year, it's a good rule to have, just so that you make sure you keep your players healthy in this crazy time in sports. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, I like it, honestly. Even though it kind of hurt us there. It's just a new level of excitement. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a little bit more concerning now, just because the Angels don't have any bullpen depth at all, and the bullpen has an ERA above 6.5 this year so
Right.
far. So it's almost like every time I see them go out, it's like, oh no, they're giving up 2 runs at least.
Yeah.
Uh, but I definitely agree with you in that the shortened season, just trying this new thing out. I probably think it'll stay in 2021.
Yeah, I agree.
It seems to be kind of the consensus going that way.
Mm-hmm.
But not to get too distracted, I know I kind of threw us off track, but we have game three still to cover.
Game 3.
Um, Game three, the score is 8-3. This is the game that moved the Dodgers to 16-7 to have the best record in the NL at this point, and the Angels to 7-15. So pretty much the antithesis of each other. You see the Angels now kind of falling to almost the bottom. As of this recording, they're still above the Red Sox and Mariners, but they're struggling so far.
Yeah, kind of a tale of two starters. Dustin May for the Dodgers wasn't super sharp, gave up a lot of hits, 4.1 innings, 2 earned runs. He's been really solid this year. But again, this Angels lineup is a big test, facing Trout for the first time in his young career. Julio Teheran was not quite as good, only lasted just over 3 innings, gave up 4 earned runs. Was a day game. The ball seemed to be flying pretty hot, pretty easily. Total of 6 home runs between the two teams, 4 for the Dodgers and 2 for the Angels.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was a hot day in Anaheim, and the ball was getting out of the yard in a hurry off of these pitchers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you actually had a nice little special achievement. Joe Adell went 2-for-4. That was his first multi-hit game in the majors.
Oh, nice.
Top rookie coming up. We also got to see Gratterall throw some disgusting pitches.
Right.
They're
And
fortunate to have gotten him from the whole Mookie Betts trade too.
yeah,
It's almost like we made out like bandits with that one.
yeah. I mean, he's a he throws 100 miles an hour so effortlessly, and it looks really good. Speaking of rookies, this is the first major league start for Keibert Ruiz, the highly touted catcher from the Dodgers system. Before Will Smith came up, this was the guy that everyone looked at. He hit 340 as a rookie as a 19-year-old rookie in rookie ball. This guy's looked awesome. He's a high contact, low power, low strikeout guy, but in his first major league at bat, his first major league swing, he hits a home run. So happy for him.
Awesome to see.
Dodgers keep churning out young talent, and it's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. And so while you have the Dodgers churning out young talent, you see the Angels being stuck with all their talent. Two of those players being right now Albert Pujols and Justin Upton, who seem to be struggling a lot. This past season so far, you've seen Albert Pujols bat 186 with an on base of 238. You've seen Justin Upton bat 107 with an on base of 190. Both have had 63 at bats. Their prorated salaries would be $50 million this year. So it's been quite a struggle for the two former All-Stars and MVPs.
Yeah. In a short season like this, it's hard to turn those numbers around. Pujols, he's getting up there, and just gotta hope he's gotta get a few more milestones. Not like he needs them for his Hall of Fame career, but any consistent production has probably left his bat a couple of seasons ago, unfortunately.
Yeah. One more home run, he catches Willie Mays.
That's true.
But we also saw someone else kind of break out of their slump this series, which was Cody Bellinger.
Right.
There's someone that I know you were concerned about, and I'm sure a lot of Dodger fans are concerned about after having such a breakout start to last season, batting over 400, now starting the season out batting in the 100s.
Well, this season, the interesting thing about Bellinger is even though he struggled so much, he hasn't been striking out. It's always concerning to see such a good hitter, have such struggle at the plate, but he's still striking out, I think, the ninth fewest on a per at bat basis. And he has been missing pitches down the middle. but a couple of multi-hit games against the Angels, a big home run, a couple of home runs, and looks like he is turning his season around, as we all knew and hoped he would.
Awesome. So that was our 3-game set. Now we start to kind of move into a little bit of late August. I don't know how you have dog days in this shortened season, but
Yeah.
you start to see both teams have played 25 games. The Dodgers sit right now at 18-7. The Angels sit at 8-16. Where do you see this Dodger team finishing up with?
I mean, I think we've known from the beginning that the NL West, the Dodgers are definitely a step above the rest. The Padres have had a good start. Rockies were pitching incredibly, but they've both come down to earth a little bit. I think the Dodgers will definitely rise to the top of the West and probably the National League. I think that outside of the Yankees and maybe the Oakland Athletics, there's not really a team that's as talented, as deep as the Dodgers. So, I see a lot more winning coming their way, and especially if they can get the big left-handed bats of Muncy, Bellinger, and Peterson up. It's going to be tough to find a hole in this lineup to pitch to.
Yeah, especially since right now you're looking at around a projected 42 to 43 wins.
Yeah.
And some of your biggest parts of the offense haven't even gotten going yet. So
haven't even clicked yet. Yeah.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
Angels. Look at the Angels I'm concerned about just because while Rendon has struggled, you have Trout who's still been going off. I think for about the first 20 games, the Angels starters had the third best ERA in the American League. But our bullpen has just been atrocious, and now you're starting to see the starters come back to life with what we initially projected to be, which is garbage, to keep it polite. So I don't really see them finishing above 30 wins. It's been a slow start ever since the very first game when Matt Olson hit that grand slam to walk it off. It's just been a struggle. And actually, I just got a notification now. They lost 7-2 to the Giants. So moving to 8-17. It looks like it's all going downhill. Looking for that high draft pick at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Angels, we thought that their offense would carry them a little further. The pitching has just not been there. We knew from the start that was their weakness. But with some holes to their offense, Rendon, Ohtani just starting to get going, Pujols and Upton struggling. It's tough for them to find enough runs to outscore their pitching staff. So,
especially considering too that the Angels are already first place in the league in home runs. You've had amazing performances so far from David Fletcher and Tommy La Stella. So I'm concerned as an Angel fan because I don't really see it getting better.
Now, let me ask you a question. We have the infamous trade that was and then wasn't. The Jock Peterson and Ross Stripling for Luis Rengifo trade. There was also a prospect in there going from the Dodgers to the Angels. A lot of Dodger fans were very confused, as wondering if this was just a clear space, clear salary. It seemed like this was a trade that the Angels were winning right off the bat. But it gets nixed by the owner of the Angels, allegedly due to some impatience or frustration with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about that? Looking back, what are your thoughts on that?
I was confused because I was initially excited to see that trade. Even if Jock Peterson hasn't performed as well as you may have hoped this year, you're still getting the Dodgers' number 9 prospect, in addition to Ross Stripling, a former All-Star, a guy that's not going to really be utilized too much in the Dodgers rotation, at least going into the season. It wasn't expected that he'd be part of their 5-man rotation. You'd have that right fielder in Jock Peterson. Now looking back, you'd have another lefty bat to combat Justin Upton's struggles in that lineup. And it's just a lack of impatience from Artie Moreno, I think, more than anything. And this is something they've seen for a while now. It's been such a rush to try to construct a World Series contender on Mike Trout that you're kind of losing sight of the building up process to it. You're trying to sign guys to these 1-year deals, these short 5-year deals, overpaying them, hoping that they'll perform at their old all-star level, and then it's falling apart. So I don't know why he tore this deal apart. I believe it's to try to get more star power, like an ace type player in the regular season. But for Luis Rengifo, I don't see how you're losing out on much. He's not that highly touted of a player.
Yeah, a nice young piece, but certainly not a top level prospect or,
Best case scenario, he's being an everyday starter, batting 250 with an on base of 300, 310.
Yeah. So that's an interesting move. Yeah. Interestingly, none of the pieces involved in that trade have been too good. Rengifo has struggled a lot. Peterson has started to turn around a little bit, but has also struggled, and Stripling has struggled as well. So, but I think that if you're looking at the process and setting the results aside, this was certainly a move that the Angels should have jumped on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering how much their farm system's been to get another prospect like that.
Right.
That would be a top 10 prospect in your system. Yeah. I think you kind of have to pull the trigger.
Yeah. So, that's a nice recap of a weekend series for the Dodgers and Angels down in Anaheim. Two teams that are going in different directions, to the joy of one fan base and the ire of another.
Sorrow of another, yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, any other final thoughts on this besides Mookie and Mike Trout being really good? And
you got Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, Anthony Rendon, Albert Pujols, Cody Bellinger, Clayton Kershaw.
A lot of star power in Southern California.
We enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, even though we lost.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the series again later in the season.
Yeah, the Dodgers Angels close out the 2020 season against one another. I believe the last 3 games are in LA. These two teams face each other again. We'll see what those games mean, if anything, by the end of the season. But until then, we'll be keeping an eye on these two teams, any potential trades as the deadline approaches, and see what happens the rest of the season.
Happens. As we close up, hope you all enjoyed it. Please feel free to comment anything, comment, subscribe. Catch us on Spotify, on Twitter. We'll have the links down below in the description, and thank you for watching.